Hello. So, YouTube is not my thing, but I am back to do the Jawbreaker Tag. If you don't know what Jawbreaker is, it is a magazine that was just published by the Messy Heads. I'll post like those links and whatever the fuck YouTubers do down below. And it is in regards to who you are when nobody is watching. And this magazine is a beautiful, I can't even put it into words. I could show you it, but you should just buy it and enjoy it yourself. But it focuses on New York youth and who they are when nobody is watching. So now here I am when nobody is watching, even though all y'all are going to be watching this. Ignore my dogs barking as much as you can. And I'm going to be answering a few of these. Yeah. So I'll start with the main one. Who are you when no one is watching? And as much as I say that I am authentically myself 100% of the time, being myself differs depending on who I'm around, the environment I am. And that's not to say that I'm fake or I change. It's just kind of a natural thing. People are chameleons. They pick up on social cues. They understand when it is okay for them to be unapologetically themselves, and when maybe they need to hone a few things in, you know. It's kind of like language. It's like when I'm at school, I'm not going to be cursing out my brains, but, you know, sometimes when I'm being silly with my friends, I do so. Well, I definitely do so, always, actually, but yeah. But when nobody is watching, I guess when I'm alone in my room, which is most of the time, I am 100% in the comfiest clothes possible, and probably no clothes if it's warm enough. And I am doing art while listening to music and dancing and smoking and having a lot of emotions and doing coursework all at the same time. Come say hi. Oh. Yeah. And being alone is really important for me. I've always struggled with, I guess, I've struggled with anxiety and social anxiety, but it began for me as a child. I suffered from separation anxiety, which I didn't really come to terms with until recently. But being alone, although it perpetuates feelings of loneliness for me, it is really, really important for me. I have never been able to have the most productive growth that I've had. I've never been able to have as much productive growth with amongst other people than I have with myself, and like myself alone. Not to say that I don't reach out to other people or see a therapist or take advice from other people or do research or anything. It's just that I've learned that the only way to know yourself the best and to understand your tendencies and your strengths and weaknesses is by being alone and forcing yourself to be alone and putting yourself in that uncomfortable position. And I'm currently trying to figure out how to be alone for long periods of time without feeling lonely, because I am more productive creatively and academically when I am alone, but lingering feelings of loneliness still do come forward, and I'm trying to work on finding belongingness in myself, and I feel like the only way I'm going to be able to do that is by being alone. And yeah. I think another part I want to touch upon is the talk about a moment that changed you. And when I think about that, I'm never one who remembers specific moments. Like, I kind of am jealous of people that are like, oh, I remember this night, this happened, and that's why I became this way, or that's why my thoughts started to change, and I this or that or whatnot. I think that every moment kind of changes me. Every positive and negative situation that I've been put through and I've been a part of has helped me to grow and become the person I am today. and that relates a lot to my hardships and just the normal bullshit that high school girls go through, and all of that. Every single moment of my life, when I reflect back on my life, they come in chunks, and it's not single moments but chunks of time that have helped me to progress and surpass tendencies and create like the most fruitful growth. Yeah, so I just kind of think that I'm trying to become more mindful of this as I've recognized that moments are very impactful, just putting intention into every moment, because each moment has the power to make or break you, and you have the power to let that moment make or break you, or to take the most positive lessons out of something that you can. I think about this a lot in relation to relationships, because I personally have had very interesting experiences with relationships, like friendships mostly, and this has also led me to understand why being alone is the best for me. But I always look at relationships, whether they ended on a good or bad note, that they were such a huge growing opportunity and learning experience that no matter what, it's important for me to look at them in a positive way, or to recognize what good came out of them. And I guess a big moment that changed me, now that I'm talking about it, is my freshman year of college. I went to school in Colorado. I'm from California. I went to school in Colorado because I wanted to get away. Not that that's that far away, but I didn't want to stay in California. I had a pretty shitty high school experience. Not that that's very rare, but I didn't feel supported. I was bullied a lot and excluded, and felt like I didn't fit in at all, even though I went to a very eclectic public high school. It was still a lot of drama and stupid shit, but as soon as I was a senior, I was like, all right, I'm ready to get the fuck out of here and like leave everybody. And so that's what I thought was best with a roomie, but I went to a huge school, didn't know anybody, didn't know why I thought that was the best thing, but I did, because whatever. And it resulted in severe depression for me, or relapse in severe depression, which also resulted in an anxious stomach that was not fed, basically. And just not to get into too much detail, but to like overview, my freshman year was me coping through smoking too much weed, because I wasn't academically prepared or mentally prepared to be in a university setting, especially far away from my family, without their support right beside me. And so without really knowing it, I started deteriorating away. I don't recall not feeding myself or taking care of myself. I do remember smoking a lot of weed and like not putting myself into school as much as I do now, or should have, but I was blinded by this depression, and it was a long first year of school and a long recovery, but the recovery was so important for me, and that is one of the moments that really changed myself, because I had this ego of being like woke and understanding of woke in the sense that I was self-loving and knew myself and yada yada yada, and then I went to school and everything just was shattered, and I had to kind of build up again all the confidence that I had been trying to grow, and all the love that I had been trying to foster for myself. And so moving back home, I spent a really long summer with myself, really trying to figure out myself, kind of dealing with an eating disorder that perpetuated out of having to gain weight, from losing weight due to anxiety and depression, and also dealing with body dysmorphia and dealing with self-loathing and feeling inadequate and having no academic confidence whatsoever and being in an academic environment. So that relapse into depression and whatnot was a big moment that changed me, or coming out of that, because it made me recognize more fully who I am, more fully what I want and what I need in life, and learn to love myself no matter what, like, even if I fail a test, like, it's not the end of the world. And I had to remember that, and I had to also find a academic environment that was more beneficial to me. So I understood through this hardship and this experience who I really am at the core, which is one of these questions, but I don't really know how to iterate who I am at the core. I only know it through the experience of being myself. And yeah, I think the moment of relapse and going through that also kind of showed me that journeys to recovery are not linear, and it's not going to always be an uphill battle, and it's not always going to be at the top of the hill, like reigning supreme over my mental illnesses and hardships. You know, things happen, life happens, and I just had to learn how to take things less personally, to like realign myself with my values and my morals, and to understand what I truly needed from myself and from others, and how I personally can succeed in my own skin. Yeah, so I don't know if that was very sufficient, but you should try the Jawbreaker Tag too. I will put all the questions in my section thing below this, and I hope you make one of these too. It's very interesting. Have a beautiful day.